Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. How many people in this room want to improve their communication skills?
Whoa.
What an obvious question. Oh my gosh. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Andrew.
I'm Alexander. I'm a little sidekick of this guy.
Today we're going to talk about everything from the obvious to the not so obvious facets of Toastmasters. After all, we're here not only just to be great at Toastmasters, but really to connect that to what we do in life. Before we get started, a quick history lesson. Toastmasters is a nonprofit, right? It was founded over 90 years ago in Orange County, California. This club has been around since 1999, thanks to Andy Hastings. And Toastmasters, the crazy thing, there's over 300,000 members globally in over 120 countries. We use the same format that all of them use. It's been the same format for over 90 years. Table topics, prepared speeches, evaluation. Clearly, it works. Today we're going to talk about some of the really obvious things like what's the missing main, what's table topics, other things that maybe aren't so obvious, and most importantly, why it matters for all of you. I'm done preaching for the time being. Where should we start?
Andrew, how long have you been at Table Topics?
In
member.
table topics?
In Table Topics. No, a member of Table Topics.
Yeah,
Toastmasters.
We've been drinking. We've both been drinking. I actually did wake up in Vegas today. Guilty. I joined in November 2012, Alexander. This club, not Table Topics.
That's how long we do Table Topics. I joined here 7 years ago. Almost in front of it. There was a few older members like Roma, Annie, or Sam. Just to name a few. Everybody else is new. Very interesting. Let's start talking about, first of all, we're going to have a Q&A afterwards. So if you guys want to make some notes, please feel free. If you have any questions, write them down for us later on so we can give you some feedback and you can ask anything. Let's talk about the obvious table topics.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Number one fear of people speaking, coming up here, extemporaneous speaking. Let's say speaking from your feet, well you speak from your mouth, right, I guess. So when you get called up here, number one for table topics, like we just saw, what's the first thing you do? You get a question, you get called up here. Once you get called up here, number one, you come to the lecture, right? Like Andrew, for example. We call up Andrew, right? You come up here. Yeah, this is Andrew. What is he gonna do usually when he comes up? Yeah, see, he's bowing or curtsy or whatever. When you come up here as table topics, number one, you come up and you look at the person. You establish eye contact with the person, the table topics master.
What about with your body, Alexander? Do you shake your hand like this?
Yeah, I see a lot of people say, hey, they go, hey, what's up, what's up? They go,
yeah, what do you do?
If President Obama stands in front of you, what are you going to do? You're going to look at them and you make sure your body.
Like this, right?
Yeah, correct. Right? You don't shake your hand. Oh, it's a very light way. So first you shake somebody. If you do not want to shake hands, some some reference, you do a curtsy or something, or whatever, you do a bow in some countries, everybody's different, okay? And then you wait. If the table topics master sits down. Make sure the table topics master is not on the side. That's for some who are going to be table topic masters, okay? So you don't want to talk to the person over there. Wait till the table topic master sits down, he or she. You do not talk. Wait till they sit down and then you start speaking.
Let me give an example on that. Let's say Wayne Newton is our table topics master. He's coming next week. You gotta show up. Let's say Wayne Newton's our table topics master. Wayne Newton gets called up. Spotlight's on Wayne. He comes up and asks a question. You get called up. You start speaking. No one's paying attention to you. They're looking at Wayne Newton. Wayne Newton's got a spotlight on him until he is down, completely out of the picture. The point is exactly that. Because if you're at a big conference, you're doing something for work, don't talk into someone's back, but also wait till the attention's on you. You're presenting. It's not about the table topics person, table topics master. I really did wake up in Vegas today. What else, Alexander?
So once you start speaking, that's when the timing rule starts. That's as soon as you start the first word, the timer starts, you time. certain amount of time, 1 minute, 1:30. Once you start saying a filler word such as you know, so like, there's going to be a little bell going off. Bing! Do not acknowledge the bell. Just continue talking. Why? Why don't we acknowledge the bell?
I don't know. Why don't we?
He doesn't know. Make sure you don't. Go ahead.
Hold on. I want to give an example of table topics. There are two really good ones tonight. I don't know if I want to use names or not. Something that's really important about table topics is more so the answer than the question. Again, think about if you're in the workplace. You're in your personal life. You get a really hard question. That's what table topics is. It's how do you respond to the tough question. Because you don't want to be the person at work that says, so how was the meeting, Andrew? And you go, it was fine. And your boss goes, okay. Like, that's not an answer, right? The point being, it's about your answer. There was a question asked today, and someone didn't really know, how should I respond to this? Come up with something. Francois did a great job. He ended up telling a story about something different. Guess what? None of us remembered the question. We only remembered the answer. That's something that I want to resonate. Let's go back to the bell. The bell is very important because in real life, you're going to use filler words. The point is to be cognizant of our speaking and other people's. When I'm sitting at work and someone says, oh, they sound like an idiot. But in my head, the bell is going off because I'm more cognizant of my communication. That's why it's important. So don't acknowledge the bell, but more so think about it when you're out in your real life so you're not the one that's stammering over your words. It's like, I like doing that.
Very good. All right. When you speak, if you ran out of ideas, speak till the green light comes on. Very important. Otherwise, you're going to be disqualified. When you go over, when the red light comes on, 30 seconds over, you're disqualified. If you end before the green light comes on, you're disqualified, for sure. So speak till the green light comes on. Another thing is, when you finish, don't just walk away. Wait till the table topic master comes up to you and greets you. And no need to say thank you. You acknowledge the table topic, Mr. Table Topics, Madam Table Topics Master. No need to say thank you and walk away. Wait till the person comes up, to practice the same protocol again, shake their hands or do a bow, and then you're going to are about to leave the lecture. Always stay attentive at the lecture. Very important. Anything else?
You've got a whole list there. Let's just keep going.
Let's keep going. Let's acknowledge again the bell master. The purpose of the bell in this whole club.
It's to make us more cognizant of our communication skills. That is all.
Very simple. Next one, timer. When you're the timer, good job. When you're the timer, you make sure you always stand up when you explain your role. Specialized timer mostly sits in the back there. You stand up, you explain your role. There's different kind of speeches. 4-minute icebreakers, 4 to 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. There's no need to say, and at 7 minutes I turn this on, and at 4 minutes, 2 minutes before the allowed time, the green light or the green card comes up. Remember this, 2 minutes before the allowed time. Doesn't matter how long the speech is. If it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes. 2 minutes before the allowed time, the green card comes up, or the light is on. 1 minute before the allowed time, the yellow light comes on, or the card comes up. And on the end of the speech, the red light turns on, or the red comes up, the card comes up. That's all you need to explain as the timer.
That's a silky segue into another role, but I want to mention one thing. The timing is important because it's part of the show. You're not just there to be seated and say exactly what Alexander just mentioned about when you hold up the cards. The timer is part of the show. Ultimately, the Toastmaster is running the show. Let's talk about that. Well, there's a lot of people in this club that view being Toastmaster as just reading a script. You're going to get up here and say, hi, welcome to another meeting. Toastmasters 90210. Whatever. And you're going to go through it. No, you're the host. It's like if you're at a big conference, you're doing something for work. You're there to do everything from set the tone of the energy. You want to tell a joke. You want to be on top of it. You want to have all the different people involved to also be on top of their role. The timer. Oh my gosh, yeah, right? You're responsible for everything. Kind of like if you're on a date. If things go wrong, it might not be your fault at all, but it actually is. So tonight, this is all Roxanne's fault, by the way. This was her show to run. But she showed us tonight. She got a lot of people to fill in at the last second. Ultimately, you're the host if you're Toastmaster. Connect us to what you're doing in life. You have to set the energy. You have to set everything before the meeting. Make sure it's organized, and during the meeting. What did I miss?
New members. When there's new members coming in.
Gosh.
We
have some guests here today.
Yeah, they're going to be your members. They're going to
probably.
Welcome to the club. Yeah. The do's and the don'ts. What do you think about that? Everybody had a goal. What did you change? For example, when you came to the club, you thought everything was important about speaking, but then you switched, right?
I joined in November 2012. I wanted to be a better prepared speaker. I work in finance, and I thought maybe I can leverage this to be a better presenter. Little did I know, it took me 9 months to figure out it was everything else that was actually more important. How often do I have an opportunity to give a 10-minute speech? Not that often. How often am I asked for feedback? How often am I asked a difficult question? Every day. So for me, a big thing I think for new members, or people that are thinking about it, is just how does everything connect to what you're doing? Most of you are probably thinking about, I have a presentation to give, I want to be better. That's great. But also all these other things actually help take your skill set up a notch. And you can do those every single week, whereas you can't write a new speech every week. At least I can't. Not that good.
When I joined, the first day I walked in here, it was an improv class. I thought, this is Toastmaster? First of all, I didn't know what Toastmaster was. What is it? Making toast bread? I had no idea. I had no idea what Toastmasters really is.
Raise a glass.
Yeah, raise a glass. Like toasting with each other. Very interesting. And then I walked in here and said, wow. And there was an improv class here. It's like a comedy club. I was like, wow, I like this. This is fun. But it was just a one day. Remember this day? Yeah, I remember. So then the next day I came back again. I said, I love this stuff. So I got excited about coming up here and speaking. Some people are afraid. Turn it around. I got very excited about coming. And I had a goal. Everybody comes here for reasons, right? To be a better speaker, better communicator, a better leader, a better listener. Because listening is more important than speaking. Because once you listen, you learn more. When you speak, you know everything you're saying. So think about this listening skills. So my goal was, you don't use any filler words. A lot of people have accents here, we're foreigners from different countries. My goal was not to use a filler word. It took me 8 months, I didn't use one filler word as a foreigner. And then everybody was watching, he's using a filler word. And then I said, so much. Oh my God, I have to be like that. So if I can do it, you can do it. Everybody can do the same thing, just to mention. And there's some people here 10, 20, 30 years, they still use filler words. It's not a big deal, but everybody has a different goal. So set yourself a goal when you walk the first time through here to this door.
Listening is really the key to table topics. We didn't talk about that when we covered it. You listen to the question, the same way if you're at work. Let's say your boss picks on people. You don't want to be the person that's caught off guard the one time he asks you. Listen every single time and answer the question in your head. That's the point of table topics. Table topics, the question is asked every single time you're already answering in your head. Because you're practicing for the actual tough situation, question, there's some word in there, in life that you would get. The biggest thing is catching up. Like it is.
How about ballot counter?
How about ballot counter?
Once you're the ballot counter, you count the ballots, really. You walk around, make sure you do not walk in front of the camera when you're the ballot counter, right? Which is a great job you did. So when we get filmed all the time, so make sure you collect all the ballots. And the speaker notes, and also the when you win your division, like when you win best speaker, best evaluator, or best table topics. Once you're the ballot counter, you make sure you put one slip from your name around the ribbon, so that people understand where it is, because you have to represent it to the Toastmaster here, right?
What about general evaluator, Alexander? That's your favorite role. Why is that important?
General evaluating. If you become a general evaluator, you're going to evaluate the meeting as a whole. So you give a constructive criticism as a club, the whole club, from your point of view. It's very good to get constructive criticism. Why do we come up here? To make mistakes. Really? I was one in the trainings, when I went to the trainings, and people say, why do you come up here? I'll be the better speaker. No, you make mistakes here. You can't be perfect when you come up here. So make mistakes, that's how we learn. At the Microsoft company, when they make mistakes, they get promoted. Who knew? I said, wow, that's why I guess, oh, you made this mistake, we don't make it again. But when you're a general evaluator, you make sure the whole meeting runs well, and you give feedback. Your opinion, what can we improve in the meeting? Think, oh, does everybody wear a name tag? We don't know what's your name, name? Simple examples. Did you start the meeting on time? What do you have to say to general evaluator?
Well, this is one of the best clubs, honestly, in the whole district, if not beyond that. One thing that we have to do is to focus on improving every week. The way I think about it is, again, I think about myself in the workplace. Let's say you're overseeing a small group of people, whether they report to you or just on a project. You have to evaluate how your progress is going, otherwise you're not going to improve, such the team isn't going to improve. Every week, it's an opportunity for someone to give a speech as a general evaluator. It's also a chance to point out what did we do well and what can we improve on. And then how are we going to do something different next week. Again, it's about how are you actually going to use this in your life. I feel like I actually use that rule just as much as being a speaker. What about you?
I use it, it's almost like lifting weights.
Yeah, lifting weights before?
No, when people ask me this, I say, no, I play ping pong and the basket weaving, that's how I do it.
You know, you're a lot younger than Arnold Schwarzenegger, but you look like, are you from the same country?
No, I'm from Arkansas originally. It's funny, people always come up to me and say, where are you from? Do you have an accent? I say, really? I say, yeah, you sound like, you're from Arkansas? I say, like, serious? One person came up, for serious, they asked me if I'm from Arkansas. I say, you have an accent? I said, do I sound like Bill Clinton or Arnold? What do you think? Well, you sound more like Arnold. I said, listen, Arnold has a speech problem, I have an accent, that's the difference. So we all have an accent. But I use it as like lifting weights. When you look at yourself and you look at your body, okay, where do I have to improve? The same with speaking. Where do I have to improve? Do I need to speak slower? I always tell people, get lazy in language a little bit. Because once you start speaking too fast, you have to use too many, because you have to think, and it's when you use filler words, because you have to fill the spaces when you speak too fast. So slow down. Once you slow down 1%, get lazy in language. You do not have to use filler words. You can think while you speak, but don't fall asleep. But a lot of young people I talk to and I mentor, they say, well, but I have so much to say and people fall asleep, it's boring. No, it's not. If they really pay attention, then you know, and you have very important words to say. Don't use unnecessary words. I have some people that speak to me and they say, well, you know, Alex, I'm calling you now because I want to tell you something. It's so important. He speaks like 2 minutes, I haven't said anything really. It makes no sense. You know people like that, right? Unbelievable, that's your nuts. Like, get to the point. Say what you want to say, but speak slowly and use your words wisely. Like lifting weights, oh, you need some bigger arms, but just put a little bit more here. It's like molding something, right? It's like your speech, you're molding your speech.
I think our guests are getting a little bored. He was in the movie Jingle All the Way. You remember that one? That was one of my favorite movies. It's not Halloween, it is Christmas. Oh my gosh. You and Arnold. Oh my gosh, you guys.
For some of you don't know, I used to double Arnold in movies, in 5 movies. I used to work with this guy for 6 years. We had a lot of fun. That's another. I'll do a speech one day about it. Let's talk about Wordmaster.
Wordmaster, what's that?
Foolish. Make sure when you're the wordmaster here, you make sure you use a word because it improves the vocabulary, right? That's it. Because we here learn how to speak, make sure you make 4 copies of this. Put one in the back, one on the left, one on the right, and one here so people can see it and make it big enough. And then on the end of the meeting, you stand up and you tell us how many times has been the word used by how many people. It's the wordmaster, very simple.
Do we have anything else on the list? We're running a little short in time.
How about the CC and the CL manuals?
Yeah, oh, you should show them that. I'll model them. What are you talking about?
The CL, yeah, here we go. There's the other one. The leadership and the
CC man. Well, the CL man. Or you're on the split. No, you're going to talk about it. It's not working that well. I just remodeled.
He's waiting it through. You both get a CL manual, confident leadership, and a CC CC, Confident Communicator Manual. Everybody gets in a package.
Competent.
Competent, sorry.
He's not from here.
Confident.
That's how they talk in Arkansas.
So these two manuals you have, you make sure you fulfill them. You walk through, you read through them. There's a certain steps. You have to do 10 speeches. The first speech is your icebreaker speech. Everybody knows this, 4 to 6 minutes. We want to get to know you. Some people pick icebreaker speech. They want to talk about some what's going on the moon or something. We want to get to know you guys. Where you from? What you do? You have a family? Where you grew up? So the whole club gets to know you. I say, oh, I can relate to this person. We can speak to them. Then you go to the steps, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, till the 10th speech. The 10th speech, you use all the other 9 speeches you learn, get to the point, organize your speech, use visual aids, vocal variety, use body language, so forth. And the 10th speech is the last speech. What I always recommend to people, it's a good point, use your icebreaker speech as the 10th speech. Right? Just make it, it's going to be 10 minutes to motivate, inspire the audience. So you speak, the last speak is 10 minutes and you need to inspire us. That's a good example for the C element. And then later on, after you finish, you move on to the advanced leadership, or the advanced speaker, where you get manuals. There's about 20 or 30 manuals, and I remember Andy told me, buy all of them, so I bought all of them. You get, for example, the entertainment speaker. There's like 5 speeches you have to give from the entertainment speak. And you can choose what you want to speak about. Give a humorous speech, speak in front of the camera, for example, or speak after dinner. There's 5 speeches, and then you have another one, for example, special occasional speeches. And the professional speaker, where every speech is 15 to 20 minutes, so you learn how to speak longer time.
Let me make sense of all that.
Yes.
First of all, he's got the Arnold money, so he can buy all the manuals. He may not all have that. The point is just, when you finish these, people go, what do I do now? There's 20 more manuals, and you get 2 of them free, right? Glad I got that right. 2 free. Alexander, is there anything else on the list? Because these people might have some questions. Maybe.
Maybe. How about name pronunciation?
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up, Alexander. That's great. Particularly as a Toastmaster.
You know what Alexander means? Help of mankind, bringing people together.
When you're a leader, particularly in this club, but more so outside the club, if you're hosting something, you have to pronounce people's names right. Megan Scott is not here tonight, but she's our immediate past president. She told me, I have to go around and learn everyone's name. She said, people will butcher your name constantly, but it doesn't matter. She said, you have to pronounce people's names right. That's just one thing, apparently, that you remind me of. Particularly though, outside. If you're hosting something for work, don't be the person that butchers someone's name. I did a trip to DC last week. I met with a guy named Anand Narayana. Someone said people always butcher his name. You better get it right. You don't want that to be the first impression. So think about that if you're hosting anything, inclusive of this club. Is there anything else? We're over time.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up. We're going to be in a couple months. Sorry? Yeah, reply. We'll send a reminder. Thank you. Yeah. When you get your email every Tuesday evening or Wednesday, you get your email from the VP of Education. It shows the whole roster of what roles you have. When you have a role, you sign up for role, for table topics, for Joe, for greeter. Hit reply all. Not only reply, this little box comes out, reply all, and you click on this. So it goes right back and confirm your role. So we know you're in. Don't wait. I think the deadline is Thursday at midnight, correct? Thursday at midnight. So don't wait. And if you cannot fulfill your function, please make sure you replace yourself with somebody else.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
I haven't received whiteboards, so how do I do that?
Oh my gosh.
Well, how did you receive it? Was it handed to you, or was it emailed?
It was
or
handed to me when I signed up.
Handed
It was
to
handed
you?
to me, but not the other one.
So it should be coming in the mail. And then you're going to either keep that one and return the one that you got in the mail, or... Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, let's have some
just segue
Q&A
into
questions. Anything you can ask about the club, about us, about Andrew.
Mostly about him.
There's a hand going up there, yeah. Madam.
What are your tricks to memorizing people's names?
Oh,
Photographic
that was not a
memory.
planted question.
Oh, man.
I got nothing on that. Just go around and talk to
be
people.
good at
learn the
it.
name.
Well, what
Just
yeah.
remind me.
First of all, if you have a role and you're the Toastmaster and you come up and you know that people around, before the meeting you go out to this person. How you spell your name? Dylan. You go out to them, ask them, number one. But how you really remember the names? It's funny, I used to have a placement when I was younger. And A was for apple, B was for banana, C was for clown, so on. So I put an apple to a name, do you understand? It helps me, and a lot of people have write books about photographic memory. That's how I remember this. You know, some people do that. It's like your name is Paris, on the P, you know, remember something with, you understand? Associated with something else. It works for me. In the alphabet, for example, you know. You're welcome.
Joe, were you going to ask about pronunciation too?
I was, but let me come up with a different question. What advice would
Table topics.
Yeah. What advice would either of you have given yourselves for when you just started off in the club?
That was not a planted question, but it should have been.
Could you repeat the question?
What advice would we have for people that have just joined the club?
Depends what is your goal, number one. What's your objective?
Yes.
You need to know always your outcome and your objective. What's your objective? Why you come here?
What advice would you guys give yourselves for when you started?
When I came here, what my goal was, for example, when I walked to this door, my friend told me, "College, you're gonna go to Toastmasters." I told you I didn't know what it was. Yeah, okay, it's all on how the public speak. I said, I want to do this. So I came in here, I loved it. The first day I walked in here, then I did it again, and 2 months later I was spoke in front of 200 people. Whoa. So for me, it's about going out in the world and speaking in front of 3,500 people in 11 countries, blah, blah, blah. That was my goal because I want to improve my speaking skills because it's my second language, like so many other people up here. That was my goal. I want to learn how to speak better. I speak better now English somehow than German because I spoke 20 years German and now I speak 27 years English. The pronunciation, even as long as it's confident. Because in Arkansas we have a lot of
He's confident, for sure. He's confident. All right, I have 2 concrete tips for that. First thing is leverage the club for all the different rules. When I first joined, I would only show up to give a speech my first couple months. That's a don't do. Come and do different roles because you're here to become a great leader and a great communicator. It's really about all these other roles. You don't give presentations every day at work.
It's actually so much fun when you do the other roles. Believe it or not, Toastmaster, the first time I was afraid, I remember, okay, and then I loved it. Table topics. I can relate to a lot of people, right, Daniel? If you table topics, you do it once, you come up, I love it. You want to do it again and again. It's so much fun, actually, if you realize it.
But it's
will
all
help
about,
you, we guide you through, right?
It's all about building your skill set. Most people come in and they have a presentation they have to give. No, it's all about building your skill set. So do the other things. Other tip, have a purpose every single week that you come in here and leverage your mentor. I was telling Carlos this last week. Come in here and say, I want to improve on X, Y, or Z this week. And then go to your mentor and say, how do you think I did compared to how I was before? You might come in and say, I don't use body language well. I want to work on my body language today. And then your mentor can help you. So utilize your mentor and have a specific purpose every week. Otherwise, you might just show up and you're here and you don't know why you're here. Have a definitive purpose every week and more broadly. Why do I want to join? Do I want to be a great leader? Do I want to network? Do I want to be a great public speaker?
A lot of people
Have
just
something in
live
mind.
their life instead of designing their life. It's similar when you come in here. Design your life.
Okay, so I do have a question regarding the table.
Oh, I'm sorry, was it?
No, go ahead.
Oh,
Sorry.
well, okay. Oh, okay, I can go. Okay, for table topics, one of the things that I still am I'm not quite sure. I know in the club, when you give the example, you say, okay, if you're listening to the question, but if you don't quite know the answer, kind of come up with something else. And that's fine for the club. But going back to the original, what you two started out with, how this applies to beyond Toastmasters, I'm not quite sure that would work. And so I'm always conflicted when I have to give table topics. I'm trying to answer the question because in certain contexts, especially outside of Toastmasters, people are not going to be that accepting in the workplace. If they ask you a question, they want you to answer it and not take the answer off in a different direction or say, okay, that's fine that you kept talking, but this is my question, answer it. So how do you
Answer a question. You can't just talk for 2 minutes. They're just going to ask you again. So it sort of depends on what the question is. But what we see today, I think you can do in the workplace. And I notice it now sometimes. is a question's asked, and the direct question is not answered. There's so many, because I work in sales, you work in marketing.
Well, one example is the Star Wars question. For example, there was a question about Star Wars, and then there was a different answer that it's like, okay, I really want an answer to this question. Let me ask somebody.
And you don't want to be in that situation, because then it detracts from your credibility.
I think you use your impromptu skills to polish and make your answer much better and more convincing. That's one way that you can use table topics. The other way, I completely had the same exact thought. When somebody is asking you a question, you don't start from how the earth started. That's not going to work as your workplace. I don't know how to deal with that.
Rona, what are you going to say, Rona?
Yeah, I actually, because I'm from, originally I have an advertising and marketing background. I was in sales. I was a VP of sales. That was one of the reasons that I started in Toastmasters. I'm going to stand up. We can't see you. Because I'm so tall. I found table topics to be incredibly helpful because as salespeople, what do? We dance. If we don't know an answer to something, we have to sort of answer or at least say, you know what, that's a really good question. I don't have the exact answer for you right now, but what I can tell you is this. So that also gives you time to think about what you're going to say, to go back, to do research, whatever it is. If you're in finance and the numbers are black and white, yeah, you're going to have to know the answer. But if you can at all make the answer nebulous, that's what makes all this worthwhile, because it teaches you to think on your feet. It's not necessarily to give the right answer, because there is never a right answer. There's your answer.
And something we notice, really quick, something we notice almost every week, the worst thing you do is repeating the question. If someone asks you, so what do you, Andrew, what do you think about that meeting? Wow, I really don't care about what he has to say anymore. That's another thing that we didn't allude to. Annie, sorry, go ahead.
If you're called upon to respond to a question, do your best to make a point that relates to the topic. Expand on the point if you can, and then summarize the point, and then sit down. Make a point, expand on the point, summarize the point.
And sometimes when you're in a conversation, you can say, like Rona said, I don't have enough information about that, but let me get back to you, or you know more about it somehow, if you can get out of your point.
But the point is, it's a proxy. Have an answer. Speak for 45 seconds versus just either saying you don't know, repeat the question. All that's applicable. Sorry, and actually, please ask a question now.
This is a great environment. So when we come into this environment, we don't know who is who. So when people don't wear their name tag, it would be very nice for me to go over and say, hi Cherie, hi Andrew, hi, because every week I'm learning. And so when a person doesn't have their name tag on, I don't know who I'm speaking.
Where's your name tag?
Where's your name tag?
My name tag is
Cherie was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. So it would be really nice if people could at least write their name, so we're trying to learn and also develop relationships with one another. That would be very nice.
Very good point. And we have actually a protocol that everybody should wear a name tag. And who's in charge of that? Secretary.
Dylan, I mentioned her.
Yeah. If we don't have name tags, we get them ordered, and everybody's going to get a nice name tag.
But that's a silky segue into something we planned here. The one time you don't want to wear a name tag is when you're giving a speech.
Right.
Think about, again, real life. You're at a conference. The keynote speaker. Hi, my name's Dave. Yeah, he's a keynote speaker. He's up there. We all know who he is. Wear your name tag, but take it off if you're coming up here. Not for table topics, but for other things.
Or if you do a
Take it
speech,
off.
you take your name tags off. You
Yeah.
have a prepared speech to give. Yes.
On that topic, this is my pet peeve. For those of you who don't know, I am just past co-chair of the Los Angeles Speakers Bureau for Toastmasters, which is the emerging and professional level speakers for District 1, of which Anna is a proud member, and so is Amy. How you dress for a speech is incredibly important. Please, if you are giving a speech, dress for it. If you're going up, consider it a business. If you're training for real life, how would you go up and speak to an audience in real life? You're going to wear ripped jeans and sneakers? No, you're going to dress nice because it shows that you're the expert in whatever you're speaking. Just a little something to remember.
Yeah, you're selling yourself basically.
Yes.
Questions? Anybody? Answers? Anybody?
I got a question.
Yes.
So.
I
know. Having been members for as long as both of you have been, what do you continue to work on, and where do you see yourself a year from now?
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Or at the end of this session, what was your goal coming into this session? What are you still working on?
That's a good point. Always here to improve. Never finish learning till we die. They tell us, yeah, you never finish learning. There's always something to improve. Where do I see myself in a year? Well, my goal is to have distinguished Toastmaster, which is the highest honor. I'm one step away. So after this, you get a nice name tag, right? You get your own victory. Can you pick a favorite song and get to walk down the aisle and dance to it? Well, that's another story. But the point is, the purpose here is to become a bigger speaker, listener, communicator, leader. It depends where you want to go in your life. If you want to use this outside in your career, in your life. Inspiring people with words is one of the greatest art in the world you can have. That's my opinion. If you can inspire people. If I can talk here for hours and you guys sit there, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. It doesn't matter what I say. But if you open your mind and listen and open up what I say and you take it in, because you're taking energy, information, intelligence, everything I'm saying comes to you, to your brain. So my goal is to inspire people with words, make a little difference in people's lives when I speak. That's the greatest art I think you can have, and that's my goal I'm striving for.
I don't focus as much on where I want to be in a year or 2 years. When I came in here in 2012, my icebreaker was a lot worse than the icebreakers you guys heard last week. Quite a bit worse, I would say. I'm thinking about what is my purpose this week, what's my purpose next week, to then just keep building. I don't think I'm that good at a lot of things. Body language, using the stage. I learn from Rona every week, Annie, Alexander. So my tip is more like, don't think about 5 years from now. Just think, what am I doing next? What's my purpose this week? How can I get help from people here? Because there's a lot of resources here. Get a mentor, but also ask an advanced member. People will share feedback.
And it's so great at this meeting, everybody helps each other. When we always talk to guests, they always say, it's so nice here, everybody is like a family. Because it's constructive criticism, not here to bash anybody, nothing. We actually help each other. I love this environment, it's great.
Any other questions? We are over time. What a shocker.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes,
sir.
Any tips on overcoming the jitters? Because that's one of my big challenges. I mean, here I'm fine. I'm getting better. But then in my work, I'll have to do a presentation, and then right before when I called up, my heart will start.
It's normal. That means, you get nervous. That means you care. If you wouldn't care, you wouldn't. No, but it's true. You come in here, and I see you every year since you started. You're coming up here, you're getting better and better. You speak. You have no fear coming up. Yeah, you get nervous, and your voice drops a lot. That's why I say speak louder, and you speak better. Today you spoke much better. You get louder, you get more confident. Just keep doing it. First time, I stood up here, opened my mouth, nothing came out. Asked me my name, forgot my own name. So nervous, I didn't know my own name. And first time I walked away from the lecture here. I walked away and I stood up here, lectern, is that answer lectern? I walked away from the lectern here, and I stood up here and said, how the heck do I get back there? I'm all stranded out here, I'm all alone, right? And then you keep doing it and doing it, getting better and better. You just keep doing, repeating it over and over again. It's very simple. That's it. Right? You're doing good, you're doing better. Just keep repeating it, If you sign up for roles and keep doing it, it's so easy, it becomes like it.
Yeah, just actually on that topic, I had a learning today about the subject you're talking about. I'll stand up. When you're coming here, I remember coming here, I was giving my first few speeches. The tendency, you don't know the environment, and then as you get more comfortable, you know the environment. You know where the screen is. You know the room. And like we had a business pitch today, and it was in a studio. It was at Disney. brand new, like not a place I usually do a presentation. I had no idea what to expect. There's two big screens. I didn't know where to stand. And what I learned today, and I think to your question maybe, is that unfamiliarity is what threw me off. And I feel that find a way, like this room. When you give a speech, even in this room, when you come to give a speech, sometimes the hardest thing is you're practicing, you're pacing back and forth outside. You spent 2 weeks working on it with your spouse or your family or whatever it is. You come in here and you freeze because you haven't thought out the environment in which you're going to give that speech.
Good point, Michael. I was in Australia. I had to speak in front of 3,500 people at the Asia Pacific Convention in Australia. And what they learn to do before you, even the evening before, the day before it's empty, you go out there. You sit in the audience yourself when it's empty, and then you go out there and you check out the whole room. You go in the back there, you see barely, you see the lectern, right? You go up there, and then when the people slowly coming in, you talk to the people, you get comfortable. Hey, how are you doing? You get comfortable, and then later when you come up, you know the environment, the people. I got familiar with the whole environment, the stage, the lighting, it plays all the major role. But now you get comfortable here. But when you go in your own job, so I had to learn this. It was very interesting to learn. Get always comfortable. There's actually some advanced manuals, like speaking, know your audience. You learn a whole manual about know your audience, right? Select your topics, for example, creating an introduction, controlling your fear, concluding your speech, creating an introduction. I can go on and on, but this isn't advanced later on. You learn all this stuff. Thanks, man. I'll go over now.
Any final questions? Yes, this is a very atypical thing that we're doing. This is a workshop, more of a one-off thing. The typical structure that's gone on for over 90 years is table topics, prepared speeches, evaluations. So next week, hopefully all of you will be back. You hopefully will definitely be back. You're a member. Oh my God. Oh, one last question?
Just a kind of question. Again, it's something along the lines of advice that I've learned as well, which I think, talk about word of the day. People always gloss over that a little bit, but I think it goes to the core of a lot of what we do in this club is that I can't see that from here. I see the word ghoulish. I can't see the definition, even with my super classes, whatever. And I find that, as an example, it's like if you're going to do a word, think about the presentation of it as well when you come up here. Like a short definition, 3 words or something like that, 5 words, that is easy to remember. Because again, when I see those things, when people come up and give a long definition, it goes in one ear and out the other. And I think thinking about the simplicity of every role that you do, you don't need to explain the roles in graphic detail. You need to get to the punchline. You don't need to have the whole definition of the word. And a lot of people do this. I use the entire page. I have like in 50-point font or whatever it is. Maybe even break it up when the way you would see in a dictionary with dots in between. So the syllabification of it. That should be a word for the week. But the point being that think about the presentation of how people are going to experience that. Otherwise, if you don't know that word, I have no idea what that word means from here.
Good point, thank you. Joseph.
Maybe you put the word on the page to be able to copy it. What you have up there, put it on the page.
That's a good idea. So the person can choose the word before.
Yeah, so we have to look at it.
Okay. Guys, thank you
well,
so much.
everyone.